Hello everybody, my name is Rochelle Paye and I am excited to be here with your angelic guidance for October 2016. Some of you know, normally I tend to come forward with my messages through a written scripture, but I have a bit of a confession to make. For a couple months I've been receiving guidance that I need to bring forward these messages through video, and it's funny because I'm hearing it's been more than a couple months, but I've been in resistance, I think, to doing it this way because I love to just sit down behind the computer, grab a cup of tea, get in my jammies, and just channel through the messages. So it's funny because as of last month with Mercury retrograde, I don't know how many of you felt the communication piece to be a little bit up in the air, but I had an amazing night where I was up till 3 a.m. channeling all this amazing wisdom and fun creative playtime stuff, and I woke up the next morning and my computer wouldn't turn on. So they literally took my vice away from me, time for an upgrade. So I thought, what an amazing opportunity to step forward and finally say yes to my own guidance. So it's funny that the girl that brings through the messages for you also won't always listen right away to her own guidance. So trust me, I get it. If you're like, I've been trying, but I understand. So yeah, so I'm going to kind of lead you through this month a little bit with what I do and how I start off our own session. So I figured it'd be kind of cool for the first month of doing the video for me to take you into how I show up to it, exactly the invocation that I do to bring forward the messages. So another thing that I get really excited about is the amount of oracle card decks that I have. Some could classify it, as a bit of an addiction, but for me, they are a love that I have. Ooh, look at all of them, so beautiful. So what I love about using different decks, for those of you that are like, why do you need so many? You don't. You can find all the answers that you need with one, but what I love about the different ones is they're completely different energies with each one. So even though the same card may reside within completely different oracle card decks, I'm able to pick up a little bit more of the energy coming forward, and it just tells me greater. And plus, I mean, they're beautiful. They're a great tool to have, and I love being able to really hand select the guidance coming forward. So I'm going to do an invocation. For this, you might want to close your eyes. I normally close my eyes and go in, but because I'm going to be on video, I will try to keep them open and try not to do the glazed over look as I'm bringing them all forward. And I just want to also ask that you just bear with me, since I am computerless for the time being, that I don't have the same editing software accessible to me, so this is going to be a raw cut. So I ask you just to take some time and space, if you have it, to just close your eyes and just be present to the invocation of your angels and guides, and I'm excited to see what comes forward. Okay, so we will dive in. So take a deep breath in, just sending that air all the way down to the lower belly. Just exhaling. Just giving yourself this next little bit of time and space just for you to receive. So as we call upon our own personal team of guides and angels, we welcome in any masters, saints, or prophets, or any other benevolent beings of the highest light and truth. We ask that any and all messages relayed come forward with the most love, ease, benevolence, joy, and grace, and with crystal clear clarity above and beyond what any of us could ever imagine or expect possible. If any healing is to come forward, we ask that it be conducted with each individual soul's free will of choice, knowing that it is all in the highest alignment and greatest good, allowing them to transform above and beyond what either one of us could imagine or expect possible. I set the intention that I am a crystal clear conduit of the highest light and order and greatest good, so I may bring forward the gifts and the guidance the angels have to bring for the October 2016. So this month's deck that wanted to come forward is the Goddess Guidance Oracle Card Deck by Doreen Virtue. This is one of the first ones that I ever picked up, so I love it when I revisit an old friend, I should say, within the cards. Let's see, who wants to emerge today? It's funny, I can feel multiple cards wanting to pop out, so I'm going to ask them to be clear. Okay. That's funny. Okay, there we go. All right, so this month we have the butterfly maiden for transformation coming forward. So this is really exciting because I know for the last couple months, they've really been calling everyone to really step up to their gifts into their life, really shed through the resistance and the fear and the anxiety and all the thoughts that you have in your head that tell you why you can't do things. So the angels are saying that this month it's going to be a little bit easier to really step up and shine. They're saying even energetically, right now there's not as much resistance to really have that push energy. It's more about like taking a deep breath and coming back home to your heart. And they're saying in your heart contains all the wisdom and guidance that you require to really step into your journey. They're saying that inner knowing of confusion about your purpose, about what am I here to do, like what are my next steps, where am I to go, they're saying you can find that all within your heart center. So the challenge they're saying this month for you is actually stepping up to your heart and trusting your inner guidance. So they're saying that a lot of you tend to put other people on the pedestal and compare yourselves to their journey. So it's like, oh, that's their life, they can have the great life, that's not for me, I'm a regular person, I don't have the wisdom, the knowledge, the skill, or the time to really step up and shine that way. And so the angels are saying we really want you to stop beating yourself up. They're saying comparison will never get you anywhere. What it's going to do, it's going to create that self-worthiness and that self-destruction and really separate you from loving your gifts and finding what you're really amazing at. Then they're saying each of you has an amazing, impeccable gift that you're here to bring. And no matter how small it might seem or how grandiose you might want to step into as a role, they're saying it's all important. And they're just kind of saying, so it's really time to stop self-sabotaging. And sabotage has been a piece that has been coming up a lot. It's like, what are you not allowing yourself to do? And they're saying, get curious about that. Try to find out why. Like, what part of me is resisting this, like, or what beliefs are coming up? Because they're saying what's actually the underlying factor right now is purely law of attraction with why you're not bringing in the life that you want to live and really having this transformation take place. So sometimes what can happen is we'll attempt something new and it might not go the way that we imagine it to be. So we set a parameter of expectation on how it needs to look. Well, what happens is what we ask for, we always will receive, but sometimes we're not in alignment with receiving it at this time. So there might be different factors that happen. There might be belief systems that we have, whereas we're asking for this, but the truth of the matter is if we're honest with ourselves, we actually don't believe that it's possible. The other fact is that we can compare our journey where we expect it to show up a certain way, when in reality there's a higher way for it to come in, so we might not get it in how we perceive we want it, just because it might not be in alignment for us. And they're kind of speaking just purely energetically of law of attraction. For those of you that don't necessarily know the laws, the best way to explain it is just like attracts like. So whatever you put out there, you're going to receive back. So if you're with a whole bunch of friends that complain all the time about things, they can't find boyfriends, or there's all this bitching about other people, excuse my language for those young ones that might be listening, they're saying you're just going to keep attracting those same experiences over and over, because that's what you're saying, this is what my sight is put on. But if you change your friend group, or if you change the conversations within your friend group, you might find that you might start attracting, say, the different types of men to date. There might all of a sudden appear men when before you thought, or women before you thought there were none available to you. You might find that your interactions on a day-to-day basis with people are more loving and kind just by you shifting your internal dialogue and your external dialogue with what you're really talking about. Now, I know when you start diving into really looking at what it is that you're saying and doing, it can really be easy to beat yourself up. I know when I started this journey and I really uncovered what was going on in my mind all the time, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm a horrible person. There was all this judgment or all this complaining. Like there's a lot of victim mentality when I first started. So it was a little bit disheartening because I thought I was a horrible person. But in reality, what I love about Louise Hay, when I found her book, she said a thought is just a thought and a thought can be changed. And it was the first time, it sounds so simple, but it was the first time in my life that things opened. It was like, oh, so I don't have to believe what's going on up there, or I can make changes to how I show up differently. So I went on my journey and just peeled back the layers, and it's amazing how you can play with that, because when you don't have these negative beliefs or traumas that we have kind of stored within us vibrating anymore, you can release them so you can call in the greater truth of what you really want. So I get really excited about this because I've actually lived the transformation of it, and so I nerd out a little bit with energetics, so I'm sorry if I go too much into it. And if you have any questions, I'll explain it the best way I can, but there's some amazing books around it, and Abraham Hicks is a big one if you're curious about diving deeper into that. So with the transformation piece, they're just really wanting you to really just step up to your light, and whatever that means, whatever that looks like, whatever that wants. So some of you, I know you want to take over the world and you're like, I want to be this spiritual leader, I want to create change and difference. And some of you just want to have a beautiful, happy day. And regardless, it is possible. And you don't have to be that big leader to do these things to be happy. You can just shift what you do every day, and all of a sudden that happiness comes. So wherever you are, know that this is your journey and your journey only, and no one else can live this life for you. No one else has the access to how your brain works and how you see the world and how you view things. And just because you've seen things a certain way your whole life doesn't mean you don't have a gift within it. Sometimes we don't see our own gifts because they're frankly just have been with us since the start, and we're just like, that's just what I do or who I am. So it can be really exciting to start asking people what they also think about you. Ask people you trust as well, and just be clear that if you can start with the positive things, because if you go too much into the negative, it might actually be detrimental to the process rather than opening. So the angels are kind of saying that we'll bring to you anything that needs to shift or anything you need to be aware of. So just really focus on the positive changes and the things people see within you, so you can start seeing that within yourself. Now, the one thing they keep showing me is just the butterfly within the card. Like, they're just bringing me to the beautiful light and the color and just all aspects of that. So they're just saying, know that through transformation, you're going to see even more beauty in your life. And that's what beauty means to you. It's not someone else's ideal. It's what you consider the most beautiful life. And the one thing I do know is everyone has a different version of that. So stop trying to live someone else's life of that, what you consider beautiful, just to conform to standards, and really start embracing you. As you are needed, your gifts are needed, and they're just really wanting to bring home how much you are an amazing part of this world and this life. And at times they're saying, we know it can feel that you're small and that you might not make a difference, but they're saying trust that you have a greater impact on life than you ever could imagine or expect possible. So the angels are just really coming forward to just say how grateful they are for you, that you're here to show up and really live. And they're saying you wouldn't be here if that tenacity and that drive to just keep allowing yourself to expand and unfold were to be there. And they're saying, and for the people that have done a lot of the work, they're saying great, because it never ends. That's the bad news, is but it refines. It's like at first it might be intense because it's things you haven't looked at before, but there's a refinement that comes further on in your journey, and the serenity lasts longer and longer. So the angels are just wanting me to go in and just do a bit of an invocation, just for you to come back to. If you need to, you can play it. I use it as a meditation, or you can just take it for whatever it is. The choice is yours. So I'm just going to close my eyes for this portion so I can bring through just the gifts that they're calling in. So taking a deep breath, just connecting with your heart, breathing into the stomach area, letting go of any restriction or restraint. And just giving yourself full permission to be present in this moment. So we're going to call upon your own personal team of guides and angels, asking them to be with you every step of the way, cheering you on, supporting you, guiding you, and allowing you to uncover the most magnificent parts of yourself. We ask that the angels and guides bring forward anything and everything that's in your highest and greatest good, so you can build trust within them that they're here to support you, that they're here to guide you and lead you, but to never have you doubt your own abilities within yourself. So tuning into your heart, the magnificence within it. They're asking you to trust yourself, trust them. And if the trusting seems too difficult at this time, allow yourself to bring in the willingness to do so. For in the willingness, you will find the answers. For the willingness creates such shifts and changes so you can show up. It's the surrendering to the divine, to your heart, and to your guides. That allowing an even more beautiful life above and beyond what you ever could imagine or expect possible. So we thank you, angels. We thank you, guides. We thank you, ancestors past and alive. We thank all of you for showing up today, the beings of the highest light and truth, for increasing our courage and strength to look within so we may change everything inside so our external world may show up to the one that we have always dreamt of. We ask that this process be filled with the most love and ease as possible, and we find all the beings of support so we may feel this is a completely sacred and safe space for us to unfold in our lives and upon our journey. We thank you for making the areas crystal clear that we need to start looking at first, and that we may trust more and more our own inner guidance to lead us and guide us to where we need to be. Thank you for the angels of transformation, for coming forward and supporting me on my journey so I finally may come home to my heart, come home to my truth, come home to my divine beauty that resides within, that only my own uniqueness can bring to this world. For all this and more, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. For it is so, and so it is done. So be it. All right. So I wish all of you an amazing month ahead. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and connecting with you. For those of you that are in Vancouver and have October 28th off and you're wanting to connect with like-minded individuals, I am hosting an event called Ritual Renewal and Release. The angels and guides are going to come forward and utilize the time close to the thinning of the veils to really help you let go of the struggles that you've been dealing with. And plus, it's a really fun night to just connect with people and receive your own personal messages. So I have limited spots available on that. I will include the link for those of you interested. And if you feel drawn to reach out, you can reach me at hello@RochellePaye.com. That's HELLO@RICHELLEPAYER.com. So many blessings to all of you. I hope the angels love you and you can finally see how much love that you have for yourself, because when you flip the switch, it is beyond amazing. So I look forward to hearing about your own journey and how everything uncovers from there. So lots and lots of love. Have a beautiful day. Bye.